Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. Oh, yeah, we got one over here. We got a serious trial here. Now, I covered this before, and I put it on my community post. So you can go check out my community post, and I'll make sure I try to put it inside I did put it inside the description. Yes, I did. So what you do is make sure you hit the like, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. You need to reach out to me. Please read the description. You'll find my email address, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're gonna get into this trial. I'm not going to get all in to explain this whole trial, so check out my past commentary. We're going to do today and tomorrow. Now, this is basically week 1 of this trial. They're expecting the trial is going to be 2 weeks, so next week is going to be week 2. Then I'm going to do some more coverage. But today, I would like to focus on the young lady that you see up on top is an ex-girlfriend. The one in the middle is this creep, mama. And then at the bottom is another girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend. And if I'm correct, y'all help me out as we watch this live stream and listen to it, right? And you replay watch this too. I believe he was with both of these women at the same time. Because the one up on top, we'll let her explain her story. And the one at the bottom. Because the one up on top was away in college. They've been together for like 2 years. She's with this creep for 2 years. While he got a whole woman laying up in his bed he's living with, that's the one at the bottom. Isn't this crazy? This is crazy. While he's over here stalking other young girls, and this is the one he unalived. All right, let's get into it. All right, so the first one on the stand of week 1 is the girlfriend. This is the one that was in college. I can't remember the name, but you'll find out the name. I'll put it in the description later, okay? So, again, welcome to Donna Just Being Real. And remember, date smart, not thirsty. Let's get it.
Some water? You should. Okay. If you decide you'd like some water, we'll get you some water. Okay.
All right, Ms. Ava, can you tell us your full name?
Aviana T. Smyer.
And can you spell that?
ABYONNEATICESMYRE.
And Ms. Smyer, I'm probably going to need you either pull closer to the microphones or talk a little louder, okay?
You can pull both of them, and sometimes that makes it best. You can pull it towards you. You sit between them.
Thank you. And Ms. Smyer, how old are you?
20. Sorry.
And what city do you currently live in?
Dallas.
Dallas?
Georgia.
Georgia, okay. What city did you grow up in?
Augusta, Georgia.
And did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
Which high school did you go to?
East Paulding and Berkmar High School.
So you said first East Paulding?
First Berkmar High School, then East Paulding High School.
What grades did you go to at Brookmar?
9th.
And then East Paulding?
10th through 12th.
Okay. And what are you doing now?
I'm in nursing school and I work 2 jobs.
Okay, you're in nursing school. What school do you go to for nursing?
West Georgia.
What year are you in your nursing program?
Upcoming senior.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you start your senior year yet?
Yes, technically.
Okay. You're in classes right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
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 Thank you.
Right. And you said you work 2 jobs.
Yes.
Where do you work?
Longhorn and Choa.
Choa? Is that Children's Healthcare of Atlanta?
Yes.
What do you do for children?
Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to say, anybody who's here or, watching replay, I have it on speed 1.25. But I believe you're going to be able to understand it. But if not, replay watches, whatever, you just slow the speed. You can get on to regular speed. Just hit the setting. But I have it on 1.25 because this is going to be a long one today, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, hope you got your crunch and munch, cocktail, whatever you got, water. I don't know. But this is insane. All right, resume.
Children's Healthcare.
I'm a patient care tech in the NICU.
Okay, awesome. So what do you do with that job?
A lot of errands for nurses, making sure they have everything they need for their babies.
Okay, that's excellent. How long have you been working at Children's Healthcare?
March of this year.
Which actual hospital are you at?
Got us right.
And do you know Mr. Miles Bryant?
Yes.
When did you first meet him?
8th or 9th grade
Okay. And how did you meet him in 8th or 9th grade?
at school at Berkmar High School.
Berkmar? Okay. Were you the same age or the same grade?
No, I was a freshman and he was maybe a junior or senior.
Okay. Did you have any classes together?
No.
How did you actually meet?
I think it was in the hallway or after school.
Okay. And at some point, did you start dating?
Yes.
Tell us when you dated.
Starting at either like September, October 2021.
In September of 2021, were you still at Berkmar?
No.
Where were you then?
I was in college. I was a freshman at West Georgia.
Okay. So when you were in Berkmar with him, what was your relationship with him then?
Just good friends.
Okay. How did you go from friends to dating?
We talked throughout the years when I moved away from Berkmar, and we got back close after not talking for a while. We just started texting and talking more.
Do you know who reached out to who first?
Me.
And you said in September 2021,
Right.
and you were in college. What college were you in then?
West Georgia.
West Georgia.
Mhm.
And what year were you in school?
A freshman.
And at that point, when you started talking, you were in West Georgia. Where's West Georgia located?
Carrollton, Georgia.
Were you living over in Carrollton?
On campus.
Okay. And do you know where Mr. Bryant was?
Yes. I believe at the time he was still living at home with his mom.
And do you know what city that was in?
Gwinnett County, Gwinnett, Norcross, Georgia.
Okay. So you're in Carrollton, he's in Norcross, and you started dating.
Yes.
How long did you date?
You BG, we on the same page. This is another one just like him. I'm so glad that they got him because he was going to become a serial. All right, let's get back to it. And welcome, Donna, My Life in the Shy. Welcome.
I guess 2 years-ish, almost 2 years.
Okay, so September 2021, when do you think the relationship ended?
December 23.
And from September 21 to December 2023, were you full-time dating or were there any breaks in between?
No breaks.
Okay. Your relationship, you're in school, he's in Norcross. How often did you guys see each other?
It would differ, sometimes every week, sometimes maybe once a month. We have busy schedules.
Okay. Were you driving to Gwinnett or he was driving to Carrollton?
I drove to Gwinnett maybe 3-4 times the whole time. He always came to me.
Okay. And you were living in a dorm? Did he stay in the dorm with you?
No. Yes. At some point.
Okay. No. So sometimes he stayed in the dorm?
Once or twice.
Okay. The other times when he came to see you in Carrollton, what would you guys do?
We would go get food, maybe go see a movie or hang out somewhere. We went to a rage room before, stuff like that.
Okay. When you came to Gwinnett, what kind of stuff did you guys do?
The one time I remember we went, I don't remember what it was called, but it was some type of place that had a lot of games and things like that. And we went to the mall.
Okay. During your relationship from September of 2021 to December of 2023, were you dating anyone else besides Mr. Bryant?
No.
Did you consider your relationship exclusive at that point?
Yes.
Do you know if he was dating anyone else?
I do now.
What does that mean?
I had suspicions when we were together, but none confirmed until towards the end, and then very much confirmed once all of this stuff came out.
You said you had suspicions. Did you ever confront him about those suspicions?
Yes. There was a reason for stuff, an excuse for things that were going on.
Okay, explain to us what led to your suspicions. Why did you have suspicions?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevancy. If he cheated on her, he cheated on her, or if she thought he cheated, I don't understand the relevance to this case.
Your Honor, it's relevant for the statements that the defendant will make in his interview.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Statements that Detective Carter will testify to in the defendant's interview.
I'm not quite certain how that's going to be relevant.
hold on a second. I'm going to ask the jury, I'm going to ask Eddie to take the jury out for just a few minutes. And
It is important because we need to know how much of a creep he is, that he has a pattern of lying. This is right here. I'm feeling more, sociopath mixed with a psychopath. But I'm going to get ready to fast forward because we got to get back to her on the stand. So work with me
Yeah,
about the
she
fast forward.
almost slipped up and lied herself.
You see it. Jack, please
Because they
listen.
said, did you stay in the dorm? She said no, and then she backed up and said yes.
You, you get to this, Jack. This is crazy. Just listen to how these women are lying. You just catch like they're protecting this man. This is why I want us to watch this. See, my channel is a teaching channel we can learn from. And we're going to learn from this. These women basically protecting. But I could be wrong. You tell me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Let's get back to it.
I want to ask Detective Perkins to take the witness out. And we'll be right back with you, ma'am. Thank you, Detective Perkins. Investigator. Did I say that wrong? I'm sorry. Okay, would the state like to make a proffer? What you expect this witness to testify to?
Yes, Your Honor, I expect this witness will testify to the defendant making numerous statements that are untruthful to her during the relationship, references to cheating and faithfulness, as well as other untruthful statements. We heard from Ms. Drake in her opening that we anticipate the defendant will get on the stand and make statements, as well as the state will be tendering the defendant's interview, which he made to law enforcement. When he gets on the stand, he'll be under oath and be asked to make truthful statements. So his history in this relationship of being truthful and making statements, as well as he will make statements in his interview that Detective Carter will testify to, that on the night that Ms. Morales went missing, he was speaking to her with another woman, Ms. Parks, who was also a witness that will come in.
Okay, so you're challenging his veracity. You're bringing this testimony to challenge his truthfulness because Ms. Drake has indicated he will testify on the stand.
As well as his statement to Detective Carter that will come in through Detective Carter or Detective Doraville.
And this creep is going to testify on the stand. Ooh, I'm waiting for that one. We are definitely going to watch that. So be around. And Laura, hugs and kisses to you. All right, let's get back to it.
My client's going to admit, and I think he even admitted in the interview that he was cheating. I mean, so I don't know what else this witness is going to add. I mean, it's not good that he said, no, I was exclusive with her. I mean,
I think, as I understand it, now, correct me if I'm wrong, you're offering this witness to show his untruthfulness
Correct, Your Honor.
on the basis of him testifying.
His
And his-
testifying, as well as a statement that he gave to law enforcement.
and that statement's already coming in, so they're already challenging veracity by the statement if it's different than what it says on the stand.
But if this witness, Your Honor, can make statements that contradict the statement he gave to law enforcement, that would be relevant.
Okay. What statement do you anticipate she's going to make that contradict his interview, which I've watched in its entirety?
In his interview, he will make statements in reference to his other girlfriend, Ms. Parks, and him fighting on the evening that Ms. Morales went missing, that he was following her around. This witness can testify to her knowledge on statements that the defendant gave her on his whereabouts and what he was doing and who he was talking to on the night that Ms. Morales went missing.
Okay, I believe his interview was that she was chasing him around in a car and that he had been cheating on her.
Right, and I anticipate that Ms. Parks is going to come in and say, and it's on video, I'm sure they're going to have somebody testify that she said I wasn't chasing him.
Okay. Does this witness have any information about where he was on the night of Ms. Morales's disappearance?
Only what the defendant told her.
But of that specific date?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, because he gave a chronology of what he was doing that date
Yes,
in his
Your Honor.
interview.
And I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Your last thing threw me off. That he told her what he was doing on
In,
July 27th, 2022, July 26th and 27th on 2022.
as I understand it,
Okay.
help me make it, I've watched the interview, the whole 3.5 hours. Mr. Bryant gives a detailed description of where he was the night the night Susana Morales went missing.
Right,
That his girlfriend, Miss Parks, was chasing him around
correct,
in a car
correct,
because he was caught cheating on her.
correct. Not with this.
Not with this young lady. And the state's proffer is that the defendant has said where he was on July 26, 2022, that is different than he said in his interview.
Yes, in July 26th into the early morning hours of the.
I'm sorry I keep pausing. I have to let you know. When he's talking about the girl that was chasing him, that's not the one that's on the stand. This is the college girl. That's this one. We're going to see her later. After Mama, we're going to see her. That was the one that was chasing him. All right, let's get back to it.
27th, we have, this witness will make statements as to the defendant telling her where he was and what he was doing in that time frame here.
Okay.
I have not gotten a copy of any statements, so if I could have a few minutes to speak with her.
If she wants to speak to you,
Right.
May I speak? I don't want to speak.
you can't double team.
Or maybe
If you could give me 1 moment.
Okay.
I just want to clarify.
Donna, maybe if I could just ask them what the statements are, that might save my.
Okay. Okay. Let's just.
Okay, Your Honor, kind of different issue. They are planning on introducing text messages. I thought she was talking about a different conversation that I wasn't privy to. So I apologize for that. It's going to be State's Exhibits 41.4 through 6. I believe these are text messages from.
Just so you know, ones I was referencing was 41.
Okay, those I have no.
41 through 41.3, which are text messages from
The night of.
the night Ms. Morales went missing.
Right, those I have no objection to.
That is one issue. The other issue that I believe she's objecting to is this witness testifying to the nature of her relationship with the defendant, and the defendant, what she was about to testify to, continuing to give excuses, change his story, and be untruthful to her in their relationship. And Ms. Drake has stated in opening that the defendant will get on the stand and then ask this jury to
Believe him.
believe him. And here's a witness who's going to talk about the nature of 2 years, what she experienced with him.
They're introducing the video. They're going to have Ms. Parks. I think it's safe to say at this point, he lied to both women. I'm just arguing on relevance at this point.
I mean, I think the state is saying it's relevant because of his veracity. I'm going to tell me everything you want to tell me, and I'll take a break and check some.
Are you also objecting to the 41.4 and 41.5? No? Okay. You're okay with the judge looking at these?
These last two, Governor, if we may approach this briefly to hand you some exhibits.
Okay.
The last 3 exhibits that they were going to tender, I'm just objecting as to relevance and the date.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. I'm going to take a 10-minute break and consult with Ms. Krepisman.
Did you explain any of those other documents that you have sent her?
No, so we didn't even get to. Those are 2 other exhibits that I plan to tender through this witness. They are text messages between the defendant and this witness. They are in, I don't have the number, but the full.
41.4 and 41.5 is what I have in my hand by consent.
A larger exhibit, a phone number that will come in for another witness, but this witness will lay a foundation that this was text messages between her and the defendant.
And Your Honor, also on there, once the court reads, you will understand.
Okay.
Our contention would be that should have been, that those particular, not these others, but those should have been filed as a 404, as a
Okay.
possible previous bad act.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take a few minutes break. I want everybody back in here at 4:15. I can't guarantee I'll be back in here at 4:15. I want to take a break and do a little research.
The day you
Is that also still on the table, the relevancy objection? Because we had a lot of, and I just want to make sure I rule on each.
At this point, after talking some more, and I do understand the purpose for what they're being entered, I will withdraw that objection. She can talk about the cheating or whatever. I guess my main objection at this point is going to be those last 3 text messages that we brought up to this.
Right.
Or 3 exhibits, rather.
Last 2.
It's only two,
Two.
right? The last one we're not using.
Oh, okay, just those 2.
Wait a minute. Okay. So the 41.4 and the 41.5.
Yes.
Okay. I find that there's no purpose that's been offered by the state that this would be a 404B. And I'm going to, at this time, exclude the state from entering exhibits 41.4 and 41.5. Let me give them back to you, Ms. Matucci, so that I don't accidentally take them off the bench. Thank you. Okay, and DA investigator, would you get Investigator Perkins and the witness? Thank you. And we can bring the jury back in, correct? Ms. Matucci, jury, Ms. Drake?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, bring the jury back in.
I can't stand this clown. Look at his hood. Woo! Wait till you see the body cam. And then you do it then.
Thank you, Investigator Perkins. Are you sure you don't want some water?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. As I warned you, you're going to feel like Jack in the Box sometimes, okay? And so this afternoon, we had something we had to take out of your presence. Appreciate your patience, and we're ready to go forward with this witness. And ma'am, you're still under oath. All right, go ahead, Ms. Matucci.
Sir, before we took a break, we were talking about the relationship you had with Mr. Bryant. And you said at some point you learned that he was not faithful. Tell us why you came to that conclusion.
I got a message from another girl.
Okay.
Asking how I knew him as her boyfriend.
Okay. Did you also, during your relationship with Mr. Bryant, you said that you would see him sometimes once a week and sometimes once a month. Is that correct?
Yes,
How often did you communicate?
every day.
How did you communicate? What platforms?
Mostly FaceTime
Okay.
and then messaging.
FaceTime and messaging, like text messages?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also, are you friends on any social media platforms with him?
Yes.
Okay. Which platforms did you use?
Instagram, Snapchat.
Okay. But mostly texting and FaceTime.
Yes.
During the communication, when you were not together and you guys were communicating, were there times that he had to end the call or get off the phone?
No. We're not together.
So when you were together in a relationship, but not
Yes.
physically in the same location?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. So you mentioned something about excuses.
Yes.
Tell us what you meant by excuses. There were a lot of excuses.
It was always, oh, somebody's calling me, or hold on, I'll call you right back, or hold on, it's my mom. Something like that.
How often was that happening?
Almost every time we're on the phone.
You have to speak up.
Almost every time we were on the phone.
And at the time when those excuses were happening in the relationship, did you suspect anything other than him having to go get off the phone and go talk to his mom?
Yes.
What did you think was going on?
There was something else that was getting his attention.
Did you confront Mr. Bryant about something else getting his attention?
Yes.
And when you did, what would the response be?
Oh, I'm just busy, or work stuff, or stuff like that.
Okay. You said when you first started dating, he lived at home with his parents,
Yes.
Was there a time in your relationship that he ended up moving out of his parents' home?
Yes.
Where did he move to? Do you know?
I don't know the name of the neighborhood, but it's the apartments in Gwinnett.
In Gwinnett? Do you know which city in Gwinnett?
I think Norcross.
Okay. And that apartment in Norcross, how long did he live there during your relationship?
I believe it was majority of the relationship.
Okay. Did you ever, the majority of your relationship, he was living in that apartment in Norcross?
Yes.
Did you ever go to that apartment in Norcross?
Yes, twice.
Twice?
Yes,
Those 2 times, did you spend the night?
I did once.
So only 1 time during more than 2 years of dating that you slept at his house?
Yes.
Did you ever try to go over to that apartment or see him at his house any more times?
Yes.
What would the response be?
Oh, I'm busy, or I'll come to you, or just deflecting.
At any point in your relationship, did Mr. Bryant mention anything about a teenage girl named Susana Morales going missing from Norcross?
She was never mentioned by name, but he did tell me like, oh, when they found her.
What do you mean when they found her?
We were on the phone and he was just like, oh, they found the girl's body. I'm like, what girl? And then he told me a little bit about how, what happened, like where she was from, Gwinnett, and then it was very brief. But yeah.
Did you know why he was telling you about that?
No, I just thought it was routine for just telling me stuff about his job or police stuff.
Okay. Had you talked prior to the conversation about her body being found? Had you and Mr. Bryant talked about the young girl going missing?
No.
Did you know about it from the news or any other source?
No.
Okay. And when he said that that girl was found, did you ask him why he was telling you?
No.
Okay. How long was that? I'm sorry?
Sometimes he would mention stuff about police stuff, so I didn't think anything of it.
That conversation when he said the girl was found, do you know when you had that conversation?
I believe it was very close to when he got arrested.
Okay.
Probably within a month or so, maybe.
Okay. During your relationship with Mr. Bryant, do you know what type of vehicle he owned?
Yes.
What was it?
A Ford F-150.
Do you know what color it was?
Black.
And did you ever go in that vehicle?
Yes.
At any point in the relationship, did you ever notice any damage to that truck?
Yes.
Tell us what the damage was that you saw on the truck.
There were some scratches on the sides, like along from the front to the back, and the side view mirrors were cracked.
You said scratches on the side from the front to the back. The front, you talking about which part? When you mean front, what do you mean?
Horizontally from like on the left side or right side, from the light to like the back, the front to back.
So the headlights to all the way to the back of the truck, like where the
Right.
tag is?
Right.
Was it on one side or both sides?
I think both.
Do you know, did it look like something, do you know how the scratches got there?
No.
Did you ask about how the scratches got there?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Remember approximately when that was that you saw those scratches on the side of the truck?
I don't remember. I just know it was warm outside. It was hot outside.
It's hot outside. Okay. Had you seen them before?
No.
And when you asked him about the scratches on the side of the truck, what did he tell you?
It was around the time where the gun got stolen.
What do you mean gun got stolen?
When he mentioned his gun got stolen out of his truck, it was around that same time.
Okay. All right. So first, we talked about scratches on the truck. You said,
right.
And then you said a mirror was cracked.
Right.
Which mirror was cracked?
I don't remember.
No, are we talking about the mirrors on the outside, the
yes.
mirrors, or the mirror inside the car?
Outside.
The outside mirrors.
Right.
Okay. So one of them was cracked, and the scratches were on it. Did he say that he?
Please answer audibly. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Yes.
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 Did he say if he had been in a wreck or a car crash?
No.
Okay. Did you know how the mirror got cracked?
No.
And that was at the same time that you saw the scratches?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that was also around the time a gun was stolen. Tell us
Yes.
about how you know about a gun being stolen.
He called me, I believe, told me his gun got stolen out of his truck. That was the end of that.
Okay. Did he say anything else was stolen out of this truck?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. Did you know during your relationship, did you know where he kept his gun?
No.
Did you ever see it in a truck?
Yes, I've seen it in the truck before.
Do you know where in the truck you would see it?
The middle, like where the cup holders are.
Okay, so like the center console area?
Yes.
And when the truck that Mr. Bryant had, you said it was a Ford. Did the truck have automatic locks that lock when you got out of the car, or did you have to lock it with like a key or a remote?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. Do you remember if Mr. Bryant would lock his truck when you got out of it?
No.
Okay, that's okay. But you said when he told you the gun was stolen, did he tell you what he did about the gun being stolen? Did he try and find it?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know why he told you his gun was stolen?
I think it's just telling me what was going on at the time.
Okay. And you said the gun being stolen was the same time you saw the scratches and the cracked mirror.
Yes. Yes.
At any point, did you find out if the scratches were ever fixed, if he got the truck repaired?
Yes, because the next time I saw him, they weren't on the truck anymore.
Okay. Did you talk to him about the damage being fixed?
No.
What about the mirror? Did you see the mirror still broken when you saw the truck the next time?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
But you don't know how it got fixed?
No.
After he told you the gun was stolen, did you ever see him carrying the gun after that?
I don't remember.
Did he always carry a gun when he was not working?
Yes.
Where would the gun be? Would he carry it on his person?
Yes.
And do you know how he carried it? Like which part of his body he carried it on?
Probably like on his stomach, like in
On his hip?
Mhm.
Okay. But you can't remember after he told you it was stolen if he ever had it.
Right. And he had multiple guns, so I don't know if, I just don't know.
Did he tell you which one was stolen?
No, not that I can remember.
On the night of, you said, so you were living in Carrollton in school.
Yes.
During the summer months of back in July of 2022, were you living in Carrollton then?
Yes, I was still living there, but I was back and forth home.
Okay. Would you take summer classes?
Yes.
Okay. You said you were back and forth between home. Where was home?
Dallas, Georgia.
Okay. And in Dallas, Georgia, who did you stay with?
My mom.
And do you remember, were you still in a relationship with Mr. Bryant back then in July of 20?
Yes.
Do you remember what your phone number was back then? Do you still have the same phone?
Yes.
Same phone number?
Yes.
What's your phone number?
678-458-1707.
I'm going to show you some photographs that are marked dates 41, 41.1, 41.2, and 41.3. If you could take a moment and look at these. Do you recognize those?
Yes.
Are those what are those photographs of?
Messages from the night,
What, which date?
July 26th, 2022.
Are those messages from your phone?
Yes.
And are those messages, who are those messages between you and who else?
Miles. Sorry.
And are those true and accurate photographs of messages from your cell phone?
Yes. Yes.
41, 41.1, 41.2, and 41.3.
No objection.
Okay, State's Exhibit 41, 41.1, 41.2, 41.3 are admitted without objection.
And do you remember that night?
Not clearly.
Do you, after seeing those messages, do you remember, I guess, where you were that night?
Yes.
Where were you?
School.
School in Carrollton?
Yes.
Do you remember talking to Mr. Bryant that night?
Briefly, yes.
Tell us what was going on that night between you and Mr. Bryant.
We were arguing about something with another girl. I don't remember clearly. But it was a very short conversation.
Do you remember the other girl's name?
Yes.
What was her name?
Zenobia.
Did you ever meet Zenobia?
No.
You have our permission to publish dates 41 through 43?
Yes.
This is your phone?
Yes.
And we see at the top Miles Bryant. What is that picture?
The contact picture?
Yes. the top.
Him and I.
Okay. Did you take that picture?
I did.
Okay. And what is the date on these text messages?
July 26, 2022.
I'm going to have you, the first message, the gray message, is that you or him?
Him.
Okay. You said that you were arguing.
Yes.
What time of day you guys were arguing?
This is at 9:30, but I believe it was that night. I don't know what time exactly.
And you said you were arguing, was that on the phone or FaceTime or text?
Both.
Okay. And when you were talking to him and arguing, do you know where he was?
No.
Did you know if he was working or at home for off time?
Off.
Okay. I'm gonna have you read these messages, okay, and the time.
Okay.
Who is that, the first one?
Him.
Okay.
You want me to read that?
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good shift.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you vote. I see you, Nell Gigi, creeping through the back door. I see you, beautiful. Make sure you all read these texts and listen very clearly and also vote. I want you to focus on, see, my child get into a lot about dating, love, relationship, the good, the bad, the ugly, the toxicness. And I really want you to listen to her. All three of these women that we're going to see today. I really want you to focus on them. Very interesting. All right, let's get back to it.
I didn't call.
And when he's talking about shit, what are you talking about?
I was at Longhorn.
Okay. You can keep reading.
Nope. I say things I don't necessarily mean because I was looking for a text or call, but I guess you're trying to show me how to live without you.
And we see the time next to it. What is that time?
9:33.
Okay. And did you know where he was then?
No.
Okay. You can keep going.
No, that's not it. And it's okay. You meant it all from you losing respect from you to not wanting to hear from me. I was worried, though. I don't want nothing to happen to you.
There's a growing interest in socialism among young people in America.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't say things for the hell of it, but I was waiting for you to talk to me all day and you didn't. I cried from the moment I woke up till it was time to go to work about this. And I was worried as well with not hearing anything because you were drinking.
And what time is this now?
9:48. Keep going.
Yes.
And no matter what, I'm trying. No matter how mad I am at you, I want you to talk to me. I want you to try, even if you're hurt, even if you don't. If you don't want to be with me, I'd rather you say that than not talk to me. I keep talking to you because I want to know shit and be communicated with. And the more you decide to ignore me and not talk to me, the more and more distance between us. When I say tell me if you don't want to be together, I mean it. I'm not staying nowhere. I'm not wanted. I'm not 1,000% wanted.
And you're talking about not communicating and ignoring you. Do you know what? Remember why you were saying those things about him ignoring you?
Yes, because it was a constant thing. If I was having a problem with something, he didn't like to have a serious conversation with me.
Okay. And on this night of July 26, 2020.
I can answer why he doesn't have a serious conversation with you, because he's a sociopath and a psychopath. So when serious conversations comes, he's going to try to, change the whole topic. Goes well, act like, oh, he's busy, he's doing this. It's a bunch of BS. Yep. This man is insane. This man is dangerous. I'm telling you, they didn't catch him, there would have been more victims. So while he's in a relationship with this girl here away in college, he got a whole nother woman living with him in his bed. We're gonna get to her. What would she have to say? This is crazy. All right, let's get back to it.
Was he ignoring you that night?
Yes.
We can go to 41.1. At the time, what was the last time that you said when you're telling him you're ignored?
10:50.
Okay. And we're going to go, Your Honor, to 41.1. And do you remember, did you try to call him when you were texting him about this stuff?
Probably, because he said he's on the phone with his mom, so I probably did try to call him.
So you're still talking to Miles on this. The first text, who's that?
Him.
And what does that say?
Hold up on the phone with my mom.
And what time is that?
10:57.
Do you know if he was on the phone with his mom or not?
No.
Okay. And would he tell you in the past that he was on the phone with his mom?
Yes.
How often was that?
Often.
You can keep reading.
Okay, well, this needs to be solved tonight. We're too over the not communicating and don't know what's going on in the supposed relationship. You choose not to call me. I know where we stand at 10:58. And you need to learn how to prioritize. You can and will talk to your mom all the time. Your mom is your mom and will always be your mom. I will not always be your girlfriend if I can't be a priority. When we're going through some shit, you always got to talk to your mom or be on the phone with your mom. Sometimes you can grow up and tell your mom, you'll call her back, because I always do that for you at 11 o'clock. And then I replied to my message and said tonight, 11:10.
Dating advice. If you got to go through all this with a man, honey, I'm going to let you know he's not that into you. He's just not. You're not his focus. You're not his priority. He doesn't have time for you. He's too busy doing other things or with other women, whatever it is. Just want to let you know. Little tip. Resume.
What were you saying tonight for?
Oh, I said it needs to be solved tonight.
Okay. And did he respond?
No.
No? Okay. And did you respond back?
Yeah, I texted again.
What time did you text next?
12:58.
Okay.
What'd you hang up for? Because this is irritating all the time. We can't have one conversation without you hanging up.
Do you remember how long you spoke to him before you hung up?
No.
And do you remember, did he just hang up or did he give you a reason for hanging up?
I don't remember.
And that was at what time?
12:58.
Okay. If we can go, Your Honor, to 41. And what date is this?
July 27, 2022.
So is this the next early morning hours?
Yes, 2:36 a.m.
Okay. And what is his text?
You here? At 2:36. At 2:36, I said wrong person, perhaps. 2:37, he said no, I was butt texting.
What do you mean butt texting? Do you?
I guess an accidental message.
Okay.
2:37, I said, yeah, not the time for that.
Did you know where he was when he said you were here?
No.
Okay.
And, well, he told me he was at home. I guess I can say that.
He told you he was home?
Yes.
And when you were calling him, he was supposedly home
Yes.
and he was not answering?
Right. Not working. He said he was working on reports then, something for work.
Something for work?
Yes.
But he was off?
Yes. Off.
Off of work?
Right.
Okay. You can read the next messages that he sent.
2:37, LOL, stop, damn, just throw me out there like that. 2:37, I said, but I'm gonna leave that alone. 2:37, I said, yeah, because it seems very much like you hang up on me, so I don't hear or see certain things. But again, I'm gonna leave that alone. At 2:38, and then 3:07, hey, what you doing?
That's from him?
Yes.
Okay.
3:07, I said I was on TikTok. He said, oh. I said, yep. 3:40, he said these reports kicking my ass.
Do you know what he was talking about there for these reports kicking my ass?
Yes, the reports from work, whatever happened throughout the day when he was at work.
So writing police reports?
Yes.
Write police reports on his off time?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't know where he was then?
He was at home,
You
from
thought
my
he was-
knowledge.
From your knowledge, he was at home
Right.
at 3 in the morning?
Right.
Okay.
And I said, hope you get them done in a reasonable time at 3:50.
Okay. And we'll move on to the next one, 41.3.
Rowing is boring and hard, but it's a full body work.
July 27th, 2022 at 5:07.
5:07 a.m.?
Correct. He said, I just finished. And at 11:19, July 27th, I said, okay, have a good day.
Okay. Did you ever find out where he was that time?
Yes.
Where?
Where the body was found.
At some point, did you learn about Mr. Bryant being arrested?
Yes.
How did you learn about that?
At about 8 that night, I had got out of my CNA class, and a friend from Gwinnett County called me asking if I was okay. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? And so she said it to me.
Did you speak to Mr. Bryant in the Gwinnett County Jail?
Yes.
How often did you speak to Mr. Bryant in the Gwinnett County Jail?
Every day.
When did you decide to end the relationship?
In December.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear her? She's talking to this man in jail every day. This is not good. It's not good at all. Why are you talking to this man in jail every day for this crime? Interesting. I know if I was her mother, I'd be losing my mind right now. Resume. There's more to come. Yeah, there's more to come. This is a very interesting trial.
2023.
Why did you decide to end the relationship?
We were distant. I started to think a little bit more about what was actually going on because I was distancing myself from the case matters because I didn't know what was going on. So I started to actually think and wonder what's happening as far as the case. And then I had a lot going on with school and life. So I just got distant myself. We stopped talking. So then I didn't feel the need to stay with him anymore.
Why did you decide to stay with you still date him while he was in jail?
Yes, I didn't believe what was going on, to be completely honest with you. I just Miles, like in my head, Miles would never do what was being said. So I didn't believe anything. I was staying by him as a good friend, as a good girlfriend. That was the right thing to do in my mind at the time.
At some point, did your mind change?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's your legal objection?
May we just approach briefly?
Yes.
Let's be real. Let's be real. We waiting for the the judge to come back. So this is my time. I'm gonna talk real quick. Let's be real. How is this guy getting these pretty women? How? How? Hmm. Only thing I could think of, he was doing this military and police officer kind of thing. This guy's a straight up creep. And if you see the body cam, I'm not doing the body cam today. We focus on these women today. Maybe I'll do the body cam tomorrow because we're gonna have a part 2 tomorrow. Wait a minute, did they come back on? No, they didn't. Let me stop talking. Let me fast forward it. Let's get to it.
After you broke up with Mr. Bryant in December of 2023, did you still talk to him sometimes?
Yes.
How often do you think you talked to him?
Probably a total of 5 times since then.
Okay. And at any point, did he ask you if you were dating anyone else?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
In the beginning, I said no. Well, still a no, actually. No.
Do you speak to his family?
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's all the questions I had.
Defense may have some questions for you. Ms. Drake?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Tracy Drake. First off, grade school. That's where I went for my undergrad, Northwest Georgia. I just have a few questions for you. So you spoke to him every day from the time of his arrest until December of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And then a few miscellaneous times?
Yes.
And I just wanted to clarify, he asked you if you were dating someone and you said, I told him no. Were you dating someone? You just didn't want to tell him, or no, what you really weren't dating anyone?
No, I really wasn't.
Okay.
Being faithful to the criminal, huh? Wow. Let's get back to it. It's almost done here. We get ready to get into Mama.
I know Miles cheated on you, which is terrible, and I'm not trying to condone that at all. But if you take the cheating apart, did you love Miles?
Yes.
Today, how do you feel about it?
Still have love for him.
Bingo. Did y'all hear it? She said she still has love for him. This is insane. We got to rewind that. Yeah, I have to rewind that. We have to listen to this again. That would just break me. She says she still loves him. You heard that, right? Let's get it.
Dating someone and just didn't want to tell him, or no, what you really weren't dating anyone?
No, I really wasn't.
Okay. I know Miles cheated on you, which is terrible, and I'm not trying to condone that at all. But if you take the cheating apart, did you love Miles?
Yes.
Today, how do you feel about it?
Still have love for him.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Now this dusty creep is sitting there probably with his chest pumped out. Look at it, she still loves me. I hope she's not going to be sending him some letters to the prison. This is insane. All right, we got to get into Mama. Let's get into Mama. My prayers to you, girl. You have too much going for you in school. You're doing your thing. Find one of these guys to date in your college. Find yourself a man who's about like 3-5 years older than you, and and go that way. Because this creep, oh my gosh, please do not waste your time writing him letters, worrying about him, because he doesn't care nothing about you. He's just going to use you. He's going to be sending you letters. I'm sorry, Jack. You want to
Don't pray to hush. That's what she wants. That's what she deserves.
talk?
I mean, she deserves it. I mean, if she's stupid enough not to understand that this guy is trouble, then why should we pray for somebody who's willing see all the red flags? There's no more prayer. The prayer should have came in before she got deep.
You got a point. I can't argue with you, Jack. All right, let's get into the next one. Yeah, BG, gullible. But wait a minute, we're not done, BG. Let's hear what Mama got to say. BG, tell me what you think. She reminds me of a little bit of Pimple Face Killer. But we'll get into it. All right. Just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I have to set up for another one, so it's going to be silent for a second. Okay. Now we focus on this creep's mama. Let's hear what she have to say, because I've been waiting to see, because I can't take the enablers. I can't take it. But before we get into mama, let me see the votes. Did y'all vote? Did y'all vote? Did you vote? Okay, I got 7 votes. And the question is, does she sounds like that she is protecting him or still in love with the creep? All right, 43% says, of course, Donna. 28% says, no way, Donna. And 29% said, I'm sorry, it was 29. Sorry. No way, Donna, 29%. And 29% said, not sure. All right, I'm going to do another poll for Mama. All right, let's get into Mama. Oh, my gosh. Here she go.
Right up here, ma'am.
Now, this is the creep's Mama coming on the stand. Let's hear what she has to say about her son and the whole situation.
Watch your step coming up. If you remain standing, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. Would you like some water?
No, thank you.
Are you sure? Okay, if you want some. Have you ever testified in court, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It's really important that you answer audibly so that my court reporter can take down your responses. And it's really important that you speak loudly into the microphone so that you can be heard. I have instructed all the press at your request and the defendant's motion not to film your face during your testimony, okay? And just, the attorneys are going to ask you questions. If you may anticipate what they're asking and want to jump in there and answer, and then both of y'all talk at the same time, and then Sheila, my court reporter, can't take that down.
Okay.
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 And if you need any water, we can stop at any time.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. If you would, introduce yourself to the jury and tell us your name.
My name is Tracy Bryant.
All right, and Ms. Bryant, would you mind please spelling your name for the court reporter?
TRACEY BRYANT.
All right, and Ms. Bryant, how are you related to the defendant, Miles Bryant?
He's my son.
Ms. Bryant, you don't have to give us your address, but can you tell us generally where you live?
Across Georgia.
All right, and did the defendant, did he grow up in your home?
Yes.
And at some point, did he move out of your home to an apartment over at the Sterling Glen Apartments?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when he moved out and left your home?
No.
Okay. Now, when he moved, did you ever visit him at that apartment complex?
No.
Okay. Had you ever met not any, let me be more specific. Have you ever met the
Can you pause there for a
of
second,
your
Donna?
sons, Miss Avion Smyer or Miss Sanu?
That's his mother's skin tone.
Yeah, that's the mama.
He must have a real dark daddy, because she looks like she's like mixed or something.
Yeah, because it kind of threw me off when I see, but I said, that's his mama. That's the closest I can get of her. That's her. hmm But let's listen to what mama has to say. It's very interesting. I always like to hear what the parents have to say, and especially those low life parents of oh my gosh, why I can't say her name? Gabby Petito. hmm Protecting their son, knowing what he did. He came home without his fiance. hmm But we're not getting into that one. I think everybody knows about that trial. Reason. Not trial, was no trial because he killed her and then he, unalived himself. Reason.
Your address. But can you tell us generally where you live?
Across Georgia.
All right. And did the defendant, did he grow up in your home?
Yes.
And at some point, did he move out of your home to an apartment over at the Sterling Glen Apartments?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when he moved out and left your home?
No.
Okay. Now, when he moved out, did you ever visit him at that apartment complex?
No.
Okay. Had you ever met not any, let me be more specific. Have you ever met the either girlfriend of your sons, Miss Avion Smyer or Miss Zenobia Parks?
Yes.
You know both of them?
Yes.
Did you ever spend time with them?
Yes.
Would that be at your house or at the defendant's home?
I've never been to his home.
That makes sense. So was it at your house or somewhere else?
Sometimes at my house, sometimes somewhere else.
How many times do you think that you, let me ask it a different way. Did you spend time with either one of the young ladies and your son regularly?
No.
Mr. Bryant, there's I'm going to take you back to the night of July 26th of 2022. Would you please tell the court what your phone number is?
No.
Well, I'm going to have to ask the court to respect the witness to answer the
You
question.
have to give your phone number, ma'am.
My whole phone number on
Yes, your whole phone number.
770-256-0216.
This seems like an obvious question, but I have to ask it. Did you ever call or text with your son?
Yes.
That you regularly? Did you call and text and talk to your son regularly?
Yes.
How far from, if you know, how far from your home is it to the apartment where your son was living in?
Maybe 3 to 5 miles. I'm not sure.
How long do you think it would take to drive it?
Maybe less than 10 minutes.
Now, back on July 26th of 2022, you recall getting a text message from the defendant at 11:51 p.m. where he said, "It's me."
No.
Now, let me, as you don't recall or you didn't get a text message?
I don't recall, nor did I get it. Do I know if I got a text message?
I'm going to show something to Ms. Drake here momentarily. Brian, I have in my hand what I marked as State's Exhibit number 54. This is a printout of a text message between your son and you on July 26th of 2022 at 11:51 p.m. If I show this to you, do you think it might refresh your recollection as to whether or not you got a text message from your son that night?
Probably not.
You don't think it will refresh your recollection?
Not from July to 2020.
Sound like we got a hostile witness over here, don't it? Tell me, what do you think? I see you, Crystal, creeping through the back door. I see you. And good karma, I see you too, creeping through the back door. Sound like to me. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. People here and the replay watchers.
22. I mean, maybe, but I talked to him a lot.
Well, let me just have you take a look at it.
Okay.
You don't read it out loud. You just look at it yourself. I'll point out to you here what's important. Here's the time. This is who it is from. It's from the owner of the phone to this phone number, which is 770-256-0216. And here's the content of the message here. Take a look at that.
The content, it says it's me.
Well, and you don't have to read it out. I just want you to read that. Look at that yourself. Ms. Bryant, you looked at State's Exhibit 54.
Yes.
After looking at that, does it refresh your recollection about whether the defendant texted you at 11:51 saying it's me?
No.
It doesn't refresh your recollection? Okay. Well, let me ask you, did he text you at 11:51 saying it's me?
You have it on the paper, I'm sure, but I don't remember. I don't remember for July 2022.
And I understand. You've been aware since the defendant's arrest that he's been charged with these offenses, right?
Yes.
You talk to him on a regular basis?
Yes.
Now, so you're pretty familiar with a lot of the facts in the case?
I mean, what you told me.
You and I have talked before.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Deputy, would you take the phone?
Yes.
Hold on just a moment. Oh, is it your phone?
Yeah, and I just dropped it on the thing. I'm sorry. I put it on the bench.
All right, it's the witness's phone. No, it needs to be turned off.
Turn it off. I'm sorry. Apologize.
Turned off.
How do you not know to come into a courtroom and not cut off your phone and put it on vibrate? It's just common sense.
She's gonna help. She's gonna help sink the case and make him guilty.
Oh yeah, basically what I as I've been watching a bit of this trial, and she's no help right now. Boy, she remind me of Pimple Face Killer's mama so much. I understand we love our children. I get it. I totally get it. But when it comes to stuff like this, I'm sorry. I have to cut you off. I'm not supporting you at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's just not happening. I can't do it. I just can't. All right, let's resume.
No problem. We all forget. Thank you, Debbie.
Are you aware that the day that we're talking about, July 26th of 2022, are you aware that's the night that Miss Morales, the victim in the case, went missing?
You told me this about 2 weeks ago when you and I spoke on the phone, and I told you I had to go back through my pictures to see what that date, but I don't recall.
Let me ask you, that night, do you remember the defendant coming over to your house and knocking on the door or coming into your home in any way? Okay. Now, that same night, and I know it's been a long time ago, that same night, the defendant told Ms. Meyer that he was on the phone with you, said that he was talking to his mama, and around 10:58 p.m. Do you recall having a phone conversation with him that night?
No.
Are you aware that his phone records show no call taking place between the two of you at that time or any time that night?
I don't remember anything about July, that date. I don't know. We talk all the time, but I don't know the dates. I can't tell you. I talked to him in June or July, August.
You talk to him frequently.
Yes.
Would you say it was about every day?
Not every day.
It's amazing how the memory is just gone. I'm a mother. And when it comes to something major with your children, we don't forget these things, do we, moms? Do we forget these things as major when it comes to your children? And something like this, I think I will remember everything. Yep, I don't know. Resume.
Do you recall the next morning? So this is not July 26th, but the next day, July 27th, at around 6 a.m. in the morning, you responded to your son's text message, the "It's me" text message, and asked him what's up. Do you remember sending him that text message?
I mean, it's possible. I don't remember.
But do you have any recollection in between those times, 11:51 p.m. till approximately 6 a.m.? Do you have any recollection of seeing or talking to your son that night at all?
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, his schedule, he worked at night, so he called in the mornings when he got off, but I can't tell you that day.
Were you aware that he was not working that night?
I'm not aware. Like I told you on the phone, we were out of town. So when we came back, I'm sure I talked to him, but I don't remember.
And I understand, and that's all right. I do appreciate you being here and answering questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, Ms. Bryant. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just have a question for you. If you and your husband were asleep or if y'all were not at home or something, is there a way that Miles would have access to your home?
Yes.
And how is that?
Yes, the garage door open.
And that, how does that get him into your home if he's able to get into the garage?
He comes through the garage and comes through the house, comes inside through the kitchen.
So is that, do you leave the door unlocked
Yes.
inside the garage?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, ma'am.
Anything further from the state? May we release this witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, you're released. You can stay in the courtroom if you'd like, or you can leave. Thank you so much.
And Judge, I apologize. I misspoke. I am asking this should be subject to recall, but I have no issue with remaining in the courtroom if she so chooses.
Okay. All right, you sure?
Yes, sir. And I spoke to Ms. Bryant about that before and Ms. Brady.
Okay, well, Ms. Bryant, let me just tell you, you're still under subpoena. So the state may call you at some time later, but you may remain in the courtroom at this time. Thank you. All right, state call is next witness.
State witness call Zenobia Parks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we get into the next ex-girlfriend. And if I'm correct, I hope I got it right. Let me know if I'm wrong. I stand to be corrected. This is the girlfriend that was living with him while he's over there with the 2-year relationship with the girlfriend that's in college. So he had a whole woman living with him in his bed while he got this one over here in college. You know what? Look at this look at this clown. How are you getting these women like this? Wait, let me stop talking. Just wait. I'm sorry. He didn't get this woman. He wanted to get her. And this is the one that he killed. Unalived. All right, let's get into it. Let's hear what this ex-girlfriend has to say.
Okay, I want to just notify the press that this is one of the witnesses that you're not to show her face. There'll be no video, but you're not to show her face on live streaming video or take pictures of her face. Good morning. If you remain standing and raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. Ma'am, I have instructed the press in the courtroom not to take any photographs or video of your face. I am concerned about you being able to be heard through the mask. We'll try it with that, and if you can't be heard,
Let me just take it off.
are you comfortable taking it off?
Yeah, as long as it's not
Okay,
recorded.
okay, that'll be fine. Thank you very much. Would you like some water?
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay, and let me just remind you, my court reporter's taking everything down that you say, and so she can't tell if you're nodding or shaking your head, and she doesn't take down or because there might be a mistake. So we may say, is that a yes? Is that a no? And please just wait till the two attorneys ask their question before you start answering. We all have this instinct. We know what they're going to ask, and we're going to get the answer out. And then Sheila, I get in trouble with my court reporter because she can't take down two people at once. Okay? All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you please introduce yourself to the court and tell us your name?
Zenobia Parks.
All right, and Ms. Parks, if you could you mind spelling your name, please?
SANOVIAPARKS.
Thank you so much. Ms. Parks, how old are you?
I'm 21.
And where do you currently live? You don't have to give us the address.
Oh,
just generally, where do you currently live?
Norcross.
Norcross. And who do you live with?
My parents.
All right. Now, do you know the defendant, Miles Bryant?
Yes.
And can you tell us how you know him?
We grew up as kids.
So, how old were you when you met?
Like elementary. I don't know how old.
Okay. You've known him for a long time?
Yes.
At some point, did you live near him when you were growing up?
No.
How'd you meet him?
School.
And at some point, did you begin a romantic relationship with him?
Yes.
Now, I and maybe it might be hard to give us exact dates, and I'm not asking for exact dates, just the best that you can remember. When did you start a relationship with the defendant?
2019.
2019. And at that time, where were you living?
With my parents.
And where was he living at?
With his parents.
Now, so that's 4 years ago, approximately. Do you know when in 2019?
No.
Now, at 4 years ago, does that make you about 17 at the time?
I think so.
And
Yes.
how much? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay.
Did you have something else?
Oh, no.
Okay. How much older than you is the defendant?
About 2 years.
So, if you were 17, was he approximately 19 years old at the time y'all started dating?
I can't remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this commentary really good because she can't seem to remember a lot of things. And come on, us ladies, we remember stuff in relationship, don't we? It's usually the men that don't remember everything. We remember the holidays, major points, and stuff like that. We got good memory on that. Men was like, they don't really remember. They be like, oh, ask my girl. She remembers. But she doesn't remember anything. I know from this stand, she doesn't remember nothing. Okay, let's get back to it.
But he's about 2 years older than you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, throughout the relationship that you had, at some point, did the defendant move out of his parents' home?
Yes.
And where did he move to?
Sterling Glen Apartments.
Were you in a relationship with him at the time that he moved?
Yes.
And when at some point, did you also move into the home with the defendant at Sterling Glen Apartments?
Yes.
And you can remember, when was that?
I really can't remember.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about some specific facts here on July 26th, and we've already talked about that before. But just to give you a reference point, July 26th of 2022. How long before that? How long had you been were you living in the apartment at that time?
I can't remember.
Okay. How long do you think you lived with the defendant at the apartment at Sterling Glen?
I want to say like 8 months, probably.
Okay. And let me ask, maybe this might be.
You don't know how long you was living with him? And especially at that age, I don't know. A lot of women, I know I do. I like to write a lot. They keep a journal, a diary. We remember all these dates. How she doesn't remember? She really annoyed me on this stand. I'm just saying. Just my opinions.
Be easier for us to narrow down a time. When did you move out?
I can't remember.
Okay, and that's all right. Let me ask, when the defendant was arrested, February 13th of 2023, were you still staying at the apartment at that time?
No.
Okay, so you had moved out and left sometime before then?
Yes.
How long before then do you think? And you can just you don't have to give us exact days. Are we talking days, weeks, months? Do you have any idea?
I can't remember. I know, as far as I know, I just moved out and I stayed with my parents from then.
Okay. Now, I have come to learn that with many people, it's hard to define sometimes when a relationship starts and when it ends. Do you have the same experience that sometimes it's a little hard to define when a relationship starts and ends?
Yes.
In your relationship with Miles, you told us about when it started, but when did it end for you? When, in your mind, when you said the relationship is over, when was that?
Before my birthday.
Before your birthday?
Yes.
And if you can tell me when your birthday is?
June 26th.
June 26th. Right. So, and we're talking about a number of years here when the relationship went on. So what year was the relationship over?
2022.
2022. You had, so June 26th of 2022 was your birthday. How long before your birthday do you think that, in your mind, the relationship was over?
I want to say like 3 days before.
So right before?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at that time, when you ended the relationship, well, let me ask, did you end it or did the defendant end it?
I ended it.
Okay. And when you ended the relationship, were you living with him at the time at the Sterling Glen Apartments?
Yes.
Now, maybe some obvious questions here, but I have to ask. When you were living there before breaking up, did you share a room with the defendant?
Yes.
His apartment there that you were living at, how many bedrooms was it?
One.
One bedroom. You had how many beds?
1.
Now, after the relationship ends shortly before your birthday. Did you move out at that time?
No.
And how long did you stay at the apartment after that?
I can't remember.
Let me ask some similar questions. Did you stay in the apartment at all after that?
No.
You never lived or stayed at the apartment after you ended the relationship in June of 2022?
I remember packing some things, like half of my stuff, and staying at my parents' house. That's all I remember.
That's all you remember. And do you remember when that happened?
No.
Okay. Now, Ms. Parks, I'm going to take you to February 13th of 2023, the day that the defendant was arrested. Do you recall two detectives, Detective Xavier Biggers, or I said Lieutenant Xavier Biggers, and Corporal Austin Gorey coming to your parents' house to talk to you about the night of July 26, 2022, the night that Susana Morales witnessed?
Yes.
Do you recall your conversation that you had with them at that time?
No.
Do you recall them asking you about the night, though?
I have to pause. I want to see what Emmanuel says over here. Okay, Emmanuel says, seems as if she is disassociating herself with it. Disassociating herself, which is understandable. This is probably very triggering to revisit all of this. You know what, Emmanuel? You got me looking at another angle. There's a possibility. Let's get back to it.
That she went missing?
A little bit, yeah.
I understand. There's the questioning that they were asking you in that day related to the night of and you chasing the allegation that the defendant had made of you chasing him around Norcross that night. Do you remember them asking you about that?
No.
Okay. When let me ask you, back on after you broke up with him in June of 2022, did you remain in communication with the defendant?
Yes.
How often?
Every other day. We remained as friends.
And you remained as somewhat more than friends even after that, right?
No.
Now, Ms. Parks, I'm going to have to remind you, you previously testified that after you broke up with the defendant in June of 2022, that you and the defendant remained friends with benefits. Do you recall testifying that just a few weeks ago?
I can't remember.
You can't remember?
No.
Okay. Well, Ms. Parks, I'm asking.
She can't remember that, huh? Us women, we have very good memory when it comes to relationships. That's just how we are. We've been like that all our lives. We remember important points, days, dates. We have to remind the men. It is what it is. It's just the way God built us. Can't do nothing about that. And she don't seem to remember everything. Nothing. And this is really a year ago. Not that long. I'm just saying. Let's get back to it.
You now,
Okay.
did you remain friends with benefits with the defendant after you broke up with him?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you also testified that you stayed in the apartment after you broke up for months. Do you recall testifying that even after you broke up, you were living in that apartment with him for months?
A little bit. Yes.
You do remember that?
A little bit.
Okay. Now, this is only 2 weeks ago. Do you remember testifying about that?
A little bit. I have a mom brain, so I tend to forget a lot of things.
I understand. You have, and we'll clarify, you have a newborn son?
A 5-month-old.
Yes, we remember everything. And sometimes it scares the man a little bit, like, oh my gosh, I know my girl, she gonna remember that. Yeah, they know. So I just don't believe this. I'm just not feeling her. I'm really not. This is just my thoughts and opinions. We all sharing our thoughts and opinions, and we're gonna learn from all of this. Reason.
5 months. Okay. How often would you spend time romantically with the defendant? I say romantically, but you're saying friends with benefits, so we could also say sexually. How often were you spending time with the defendant sexually after you broke up?
I can't remember.
You remember testifying 2 weeks ago that it was every week?
No.
Let me ask you well, not on, but even after you broke up with the defendant or you ended the relationship with the defendant, did you exchange text messages with him?
A little bit.
A little bit. You recall me telling you that there was over 1,600 pages of text messages between the two of you after this?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little more than a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Parks, I know you don't want to be here, and I know you don't want to testify, but I need you to be honest and truthful about your answers, okay?
Okay.
Those messages, were they about, a lot of those messages, were you and the defendant arguing about your relationship?
Yes.
And even months, 6 months after you broke up, were you sending him messages about wanting to spend your life together and loving him and those types of things?
I can't remember.
Do you remember me showing you those text messages 2 weeks ago and having you read out in court those messages where you were sending to him?
You're gonna refresh my memory.
Okay. I'm going to take you to the night of July 26th, 2022. At that time, you were still living in the home with the defendant?
I can't remember.
Can't remember.
No.
You remember telling Lieutenant Biggers and Corporal Gorig that you were living in the apartment with them that night?
I can't remember that far back.
I'm not asking whether you can remember that far back. I'm asking if you remember telling Lieutenant Biggers and Corporal Gorig on February 13th, 2023, when they came to your home, that you were living with the defendant in the home that night.
I can't remember.
Okay.
Ma'am, do you have any kind of medical issue that causes you not to remember?
No, I just don't remember.
Okay, he's asking you questions from 2 weeks ago.
I have a mom brain. I tend to forget a lot of things. That's why
Okay.
I mean, he can refresh my memory and show me things, and yeah, I can probably work with
I
him.
wondered if you had an issue that we needed to know about, take consideration for. No.
No.
Even the judge is getting annoyed because she doesn't understand. But she was like, I like how the judge is. Is this any kind of medical condition? Because maybe she might have one. So now we cleared it up. She said no, she doesn't. Because even like the judge said, that was 2 weeks ago. You don't remember that? I'm just saying. Reason.
Certainly.
Ms. Parks, I'm going to show you a transcript of your testimony on May 21st of 2024. Have you look here, and I'm going to direct you to what I'm talking about here. And I should have shown the straight first. Let me do that. I just want to make sure that she knows what I'm showing you. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to have you look right here, starting on at the top. Maybe I'll just undo the pages so it's a little easier to see. Okay? Up here at the top. Do you recall me asking you back on May 21st about a list of text messages between you and Mr. Bryant?
Where are you reading that?
Right here, if you read on the last 2 lines.
Here?
Yes, ma'am. You don't have to read it out loud. You can just read it to yourself. And you had a chance to review it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, do you recall me asking you, as you do these next pages, about the text messages that you and the defendant exchanged after July 26th of 2022?
Now I remember.
Now you remember. Okay.
Yes.
So let me ask you, do you recall this text message here on September 13th of 2022 where the defendant texted you, love you, leave the door unlocked?
Yes.
Okay. And on December 11th, and I'll show you this one down here, December 11th of 2022. Do you recall sending a text message from you to the defendant where you said, "I want to continue a future with you. I love you, Miles Bryant"? Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall this text message on January 28th of 2023, right here, where it said, where you read out in court and it says, "See you when I get home," to the defendant?
Something to think about, Emmanuel. Sounds like she may have been given legal advice to be careful about the questions that she's answers. Probably trying not to talk herself into some probable cause. That's something. It's an angle to look at, Emmanuel. Something to think about. All right, let's see what Key says. Do this young lady have a job? Can she remember to feed her child? Did I hear her say that she had a child at home? Yeah, she said, I thought she said a 4 or 5 month old child. I think they would have brought up in the trial because I was wanting to know. Okay, so it's 4 or 5 months, 9 months you carried a child. Let's do the math. Is it this monster's baby? I don't know, but they didn't say. I didn't get a chance to look that up, but that's something to think about. Like I said, you remember to feed your child. You remember to change the pamper, right? You remember to go to work. You remember to brush your teeth. But I have to say, I give credit to prosecution because I think they was already prepared for this. They was already prepared that she was going to be a hostile witness. So that's okay. All right, let's get back to it. All right.
Yes.
Ms. Parks, now that I have refreshed your recollection, do you remember or acknowledge sending those text messages? And I showed you in there over 1,400 pages of text messages between you and the defendant sent after July 26th of 2022.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, those text messages, "I'll see you when I get home," "love you," "leave the door unlocked," reviewing those text messages, being honest before this court, you're under oath, you were still living with the defendant at his apartment, at Sterling Gun Apartments, after July 26th of 2022. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take you to that night. You've given statements to my office. You've given statements to the police. You testified in court about all of these things. So I'm going to ask you, what happened that night? Were you and the defendant arguing that night?
I want to say yes.
Okay. And what, if you recall, what were you arguing about?
Him being faithful to me.
All right. Him being faithful to you. Did you suspect him of cheating on you at that time?
Yes.
In fact, was that a constant concern pretty much throughout your relationship?
Yes.
Did you know a specific person he had cheated on you with?
Not really.
Did you know somebody named Avion Smyer, who she was?
Yes. Yes.
Had you ever met her?
No.
But how did you know who she was?
I was cleaning out a bin of clothes and I came across like a love letter from her, and it was a picture of them together. And it was a t-shirt with her name on it and I guess a graduation year. I can't remember. I just know that her name was on the back of a shirt.
Throughout your relationship with the defendant, did you consistently, I'll say consistently, but at times were there times that you would argue with him and confront him about your suspicions of him cheating on you?
Yes.
Was it a pretty common argument that the two of you had?
Yes.
When you would confront the defendant with these allegations that he's cheating on you and things like that, did he admit them, or did he come up with an excuse, or what happened?
Excuses.
Now, that night, the 26th, did you have such an argument with him that we've been discussing of this, confronting him about being unfaithful to you?
Yes.
Now, I know it's a long time ago, and so you just do the best you can on remembering. But what time did that start in that day? Was it already going on all day, or was there something that day, if you remember, that triggered that argument?
It was going on all day.
Now, ultimately, you're aware, because we've talked about it before, and the questioned about it by police and by. The defendant says that you were chasing him around Norcross and other places potentially, just around Norcross that night because of the argument. Were you doing that?
I can't remember.
Do you recall telling Lieutenant Xavier Biggers and Corporal Austin Goring and myself?
Okay. You gonna tell me you don't remember chasing him around? It's either yes, I did, or what are you talking about? How you don't remember that you was chasing him around? But I'm just saying. What else you have to say? She remembers that part though. No. All right, let's get back to it.
Investigator Kelly Perkins in the back of the courtroom, and Eddie Tucci, and everybody else that you did not chase him around Norcross that night? Okay, and so you just do the best you can on remembering. But what time did that start in that day? Was it already going on all day, or was there something that day, if you remember, that triggered that argument?
It was going on all day.
Now, ultimately, you're aware because we've talked about it before, and the question about it by police and by. The defendant says that you were chasing him around Norcross and other places potentially, around Norcross that night because of the argument. Were you doing that?
I can't remember.
Do you recall telling Lieutenant Xavier Biggers and Corporal Austin Goring and myself and Investigator Kelly Perkins in the back of the courtroom and Eddie Tucci and everybody else that you did not chase him around Norcross that night?
Did not chase him.
Do you recall telling us that that night you were not chasing the defendant around Norcross?
I'm sorry, repeat that question one more time. What last part? The last part.
So the first question was, were you chasing the defendant around Norcross all night that night after that argument?
No.
Okay. Now, I do want to show you a photograph. I marked it as State Exhibit 53. I'm going to show this straight first. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
All right. And what is this a photograph of, Ms. Parks?
Oakland townhomes, Oakland Chase townhomes.
And I can hear you because I'm standing really close to you, but it was you're speaking a little low. Could you say that again so that the court reporter and the jury can hear what you're saying?
Oakland townhomes, Oakland Chase townhomes.
Okay, so you're saying the Oak Knoll townhomes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. I'm asking you, is this what is a photograph of in general?
No, what did you say? Yeah, maybe that would help her. We can't be sitting here protecting this monster. This girl died. This girl was hanging out with her friends. She left her friends to go home, and here come this creep using his job as a cop and lured her in and then killed her. And you're gonna protect this dude? Oh my gosh, this is my daughter's. If I had a daughter, I'm cutting her off. She's done. You want to protect him? You do you. I can't control you. You grown enough, but you ain't not gonna do it around me. Oh Lord. Resume.
The street. I see houses, townhomes.
All right. And does this appear? Have you been to this area before, off Steve Reynolds Boulevard, the Oak Knoll Trace and Oak Knoll townhomes area?
No.
I'm not saying you've been in the complex. I'm sorry, but down this road and around this area.
I passed it a couple times. Yes.
Okay. Is this an accurate description of that area?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I move to admit State's Exhibit number 53.
No objection.
State's Exhibit 53 is admitted without objection.
Judge, may I have permission to publish?
Certainly.
All right. Now, Ms. Parks, you can see it on the screen to your right. You can also see it on the big monitor to your left here. And I'm going to make our lives a little easier here. You recall me showing this photograph to you before a few times before you come into court?
Yes. Yes.
All right. And again, you're going to have to speak up just so that everybody can hear you. Okay?
If you pull the microphones together, they seem to project better. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So you, that night, did you confront the defendant as you were arguing, did you confront the defendant somewhere about him possibly being cheating on you with somebody?
Yes.
All right. And where did you confront him at? Where did you, just tell us. Let me ask you this before you think. Is the location that you confronted him on the map here contained in Exhibit 53?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you could, I'm going to ask you to, we have this pointer so that you don't have to reach too far. But if you can stand up and use this, if you show the jury where it was that you confronted the defendant that night. And you can stand up, being a little closer.
Be careful of your
Yeah,
steps.
be careful of your steps. Okay. So thank you so much, Ms. Parks. I want to make sure I'm being correct. On State's Exhibit 53, you're pointing to this roadway here that's directly across Steve Reynolds Boulevard from Oak Lock Trace?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Describe for the jury, first of all, how did you come to find the defendant on that road?
That night, I was just driving around as usual to clear my head, and I came across like a truck that looked like his, and I followed it from a distance, and I seen that he made a left from, he was coming from this way, and he made like a left turn into the complex that's right here.
Okay, so, and I want to make sure that I understand you correctly. The defendant in his truck, was it the black F-150 that he owned and drove?
Yes.
All right, so he was heading on Steve Reynolds Boulevard on this photograph, State's Exhibit 53, kind of from right to left.
Yes.
All right. Now, is that back towards your apartment where you guys were living at?
Yes.
All right. And as he's doing that, did you see him turn left onto the roadway that is across the street from Oak Lock Trace?
Yes.
All right, what did you do?
I followed him from a distance, and as I seen that he made like another turn into like a parking area, he was backing up, and I blocked my car in so he couldn't get out, and that's when I confronted him.
And I can imagine that you were probably pretty upset, were you?
Yes.
What'd you say? What happened?
I was asking him, who did he know that lives here, and why are you here? He couldn't answer me, and it took off.
Do you have any idea what time this was?
No.
And after you confronted him that night, well, let me ask you first, did you see anybody in the truck with him?
No.
Right, and where were you at? Did you get out of your car?
I got out.
All right, where did you go?
To the driver door. He cracked his window.
So he cracked the window?
Yes.
And what you're asking him about whether he knows anybody there, did he say anything to you?
No.
Now, how long, and again, we don't have to we're not talking exact seconds and minutes, but just the best that you can remember, how long did that encounter last?
I want to say probably like a minute or two.
And what ended it?
I gave up. I was tired of asking questions, and I left him alone.
So did you get back in your car?
Yes.
And where'd you go?
I went to the apartment and packed up a couple things.
What was your intention that night when you went back to the apartment to pack up some things?
At the time, I didn't want to see him.
You were packing up some things. Were you going to leave?
Yes.
And where were you going to go?
To my parents' house.
And you don't have to give us an address, but just generally, where do your parents live at?
In Norcross.
Okay. How far from this apartment, from where you were living at the Sterling Glen, is your parents' home?
Probably like 5 or 6 minutes.
5, 6. That's if you're driving?
Yes.
Ultimately, that night, after that, do you recall talking to the defendant?
Maybe.
And maybe another way of saying this is that throughout the night, were you guys calling back and forth, you calling him calling you back, talking on the phone to each other, kind of the continuation of the argument?
Yes.
When you saw him there near the Oak Lock Trace, did you see anybody in the vehicle with him?
No.
Did you get in the car?
No.
And outside that time of day, was it light outside or was it dark outside?
It was dark.
So was it nighttime?
Yes.
You went back to the apartment. How long do you think it took you to pack up stuff there at the apartment?
I want to say like a good 10, 20 minutes. I had a lot of stuff.
I understand. Now, once you packed up, did you leave the apartment that night?
I might have. I can't remember.
It's all right. That's no problem. You don't recall. Even though your intention might have been to go stay with your parents that night, you didn't actually move out and stop staying in his apartment after that?
No.
Do you know how long it was before you came, if you left, how long it was before you came back?
No.
Because you stayed at the apartment longer, living there, and you and the defendant, you look at the text messages, still had some level of relationship. Did you ever confront him about this later? What's going on? Why are you there? Who are you with? Anything like that? Any other conversations after that?
I can't remember.
Well, let me ask you a kind of similar question. Did the defendant ever tell you that he was with somebody or confess to you that he had some kind of, he was cheating on you with somebody there?
No.
Did the defendant give you excuses about things that night?
I can't remember.
That's okay. That night, did you ever go out to Tequila, Georgia, into the wooded area there on the side of Highway 316?
No.
The rest of that night, did you ever see the defendant the rest of that night after you left?
No.
Now, I showed you a moment ago when we were going through the transcript and refreshing your memory, a text on January 28th of 2023 about see you when I get home, or I'm coming home to the house, to the apartment there. At that time, were you still staying at times there at the apartment with him in January 28th of 2023?
No.
Now, up until his arrest, February 13th of 2023, were there times that you would stay over at his house?
No.
So texting him that you're coming home, or that you're going to see him at home, things like that. What home are you referring to?
My parents' house.
Was he coming over to your parents' home? Was he living there with you at your parents' home?
No.
Okay. Now, even on the day that he was arrested, do you recall the defendant calling you and telling you that he was going up to the Gwinnett County Police Department to talk to the police about Susana Morales' death?
Yes.
So on the day of, when he was arrested, he called you to let you know where he was at and what he was doing.
Yes.
After he was arrested, did you still remain in contact with him while he was in the jail?
Yes.
Answer his phone calls and talk to him?
Yes.
At some point, did you stop talking to him?
Yes.
Just give us an idea of when that was.
I can't remember.
Can't remember.
Like stop answering phone calls in jail.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe I can ask it in another way that might be more helpful. How long after his arrest did you know? Are we days, weeks, months?
It was probably some months.
Okay. Did you move on into another relationship?
Yes.
Just 1 minute.
Question is answered. Yes, she moved on to another relationship. And I think she said her child was, 4 or 5 months old? And this crime happened about over a year ago? A little bit over, about a year. Yeah, because I did commentary on it. It was about a year ago. Look in the description. You can read. You'll find the link for the commentary I did on it, so you can find out more about this whole trial and everything that's happening. I was so furious when I did that commentary. I can't stand this creep. I'm so glad this trial is public. Resume.
Just a couple of questions. Do you have the same phone number now that you had at the time of all these incidents?
Yes.
Can you tell us your phone number, please?
I don't want to expose my phone number.
You have to testify to your phone number, Ms. Parks.
44226-2429.
Okay, thank you. I'm not trying to embarrass you. Now, before you, I want to, I skipped over something I should have asked you. At some point in that evening, you testified about finding and confronting the defendant in this photograph here on State Exhibit 53. How long, if you know, how long before that, how long have you been driving around, kind of clearing your head?
Probably for 10 minutes.
And so did you leave the apartment and then start driving around for the 15 minutes, or were you somewhere else?
I was around Norcross. Wait, can you repeat that?
Sure, I can repeat it. You said you started driving and maybe you drove around for 15 minutes or so. Where were you before you started driving around?
I was at the apartment.
And how long before you left did the defendant leave?
I can't remember.
Was it before you though?
Yes.
So he left before you, and then at some point you left to go clear your head.
Yes.
Had he been at the apartment with you that night?
He was gone all day.
So with the argument that you two got into that night, was it all over phone calls and text messages, or was any part of that before you saw him at that apartment or that neighborhood? Was any part of it in person? If you remember.
I can't remember.
I understand. Ms. Parks, I think those are all the questions I have for you.
Ms. Drake?
Thank you. I'm just gonna have a few questions for you. So you saw what you thought was his truck and you followed him a certain distance?
Yes.
And then he pulled into an apartment complex, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember telling Sergeant Biggers and another officer that you met back up with Mr. Bryant at a QT on Beaver Ruin Road and Indian Trail later that evening or the next morning or something?
I can't remember.
You don't remember saying that?
No.
Did you meet up with him again after that initial confrontation?
I can't remember. I probably have.
Did you go back home to the apartment that night? Did you go back to your apartment that night? The one where you and Miles were staying?
Yes.
May I have just one moment, please?
You remember that, but you don't remember the other thing. Wow. I can't take it. Oh, the people that's coming, welcome to Donna Just Being Real. Glad to have you here. Make sure you hit the like. And tomorrow we'll be doing part 2 of more clips of week 1 of trial. And next week is going to be week 2. Just so everybody know. So sometime tomorrow around about the same time I did it today. Something like that. But let's get back to it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Parks.
You here?
Nothing further, Your Honor, but I do wish this witness to remain.
And sequester?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Parks, I'm going to excuse you for this morning, but you remain under subpoena. And it'll be, the DA's office will get in touch with you if they need to recall you as a witness. Thank you. State call its next witness.
State called investigator John Wilbanks.
Once she passed by, who was the guy that just ran there and chased her? I don't know. Maybe it might be a dad. I don't know. Just curious. Okay, I'm going to show a quick little news clip of this creep. I'm not even going to tell you what happened. We're going to watch this quick little news clip, and then I'm going to let you go. And then tomorrow we're going to do more of, this week trial. I'm going to show some more clips tomorrow. All right. Give me a second here while I change over to the other one. And tomorrow we're going to focus on this other girl that was on the stand. Now let's watch this clip real quick, and then I'll let you go, ladies and gentlemen.
All new at 11 o'clock, we're learning more about the now former police officer charged in connection with the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales, whose remains were found in Tequila last week. Well, it turns out that a Snellville woman has now complained to the police last year that the same police officer had been stalking her months before and after Morales disappeared in July.
Then, after he was arrested on Monday in the Morales case, the woman now wonders if it could have been her. John Schierick has her story for us tonight.
I woke up with nightmares.
She is still shaking. Alicia Bates says that on Monday, when she saw that Gwinnett County Police had arrested now former Doraville Police Officer Miles Bryant in connection with the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales. Bates said to herself,
It could have been me.
Alicia Bates says she now believes Bryant is the same man who had been stalking her over several months last year, even breaking through her door when she wasn't home, she says, and trying to get in several other times, as seen on a neighbor's doorbell camera.
When I saw him on camera and saw what he was capable of and doing, trying to break in, it had me very scared for my life.
A screen grab from one of those videos in October shows the man's face, and that's when Bates says she identified the man as Miles Bryant, a childhood friend who had recently tried to reconnect with her, but she had stopped returning his texts. She reported Bryant to Doraville Police and to Gwinnett County Police, but Doraville Police tell us there is no proof it was Bryant who was committing any crimes against Bates. They told Bryant of the stalking complaint, and after that, quote, the behavior stopped. And we're working to find out what Gwinnett County Police did with her complaint.
So I would have been the first victim that they knew about had he got in and I was home. He did get to Susana, and then he came back for me in December. So I feel like had they investigated my case more, Susana could have been here, and I do want him to be punished for his actions.
Alicia Bates says whatever happens with her case against Bryant, she hopes prosecutors call her to testify against him if and when he goes to trial in connection with the death of Susana Morales. In Atlanta, John Schierick, 11 Alive News.
I apologize. I did want to show you another person that was on the stand, so I'm going to show this guy. Okay, we're going to listen to him. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it just started. I didn't mean to start it. Let me pause it. Okay. Just give me a second here. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna watch this brief little clip here because the inmate, jailmate, I don't know. I get it mixed up with jail or prison. Neither one of those places is good or whatever. But he was talking to him, so we're gonna hear what he has to say on the stand. All right. Can I fast?
There's no. It says right here. Plain. He says. It
There
says
you
right here.
go.
Plain. There's no blood, no semen, no nothing. They can't. There's. They ain't got nothing against me.
So did he indicate to you that he was not going to be linked to the young girl's body because there was no blood or semen on her?
Yes.
Is that what he said?
So there's no way this case can be. There's no way this case can be put on me. Doesn't show that I was anywhere around her. Doesn't show me no blood, no semen, no nothing.
At some point, did the defendant talk to you about, at the time that you were at Gwinnett County Detention Center, had you been in prison before?
Yes, I was in prison at the time.
Okay.
I was just coming back to court.
But you were just back in Gwinnett County to handle that case?
Right.
Did he ever talk to you about what prison was like?
Everybody's never been that has a possibility of going. They're always going to ask that question.
Okay. What specifically did he ask you?
He said, when and if I ever get charged, or when and if I have to go to prison, what is it like? And I told him.
Okay. Was that a one-time thing, or did he talk to you, ask you other times about what?
It got brought up more than once.
Obviously, at some point, I'm sure everybody kind of wondered what might happen to them with their case. Was there ever a time that the defendant talked to you about the death penalty?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I don't know how discussions about the death penalty, and this is not a death penalty case, are relevant.
His answer will be very relevant, Your Honor.
Can we give state
Your
latitude?
Honor, I have not received any statements about anything involving a death penalty.
Your Honor, Mr. Jones has been on the witness list. Ms. Ray does know about him. He's been at the Gwinnett County Detention Center. I can't control whether she interviews him or not, but
But he still has to turn over any statements of my client.
I've turned over written statements of her client. There's nothing written, Judge.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
Did you ever have a conversation with him where the defendant brought up the death penalty?
There was a conversation brought up one time. He said, man, he said, someone could get the death penalty for something like this. I said, no, you got to do something more brutal than that. And he said, well, he said, so far they only got me charged with this one. He said, so far I'm only charged with one. I don't think killing one person, I don't think somebody doing something, you're going to get no death penalty from something like that.
I understand. How long do you think that you were in the same pod with the defendant?
Maybe a year? No, about 9 months.
And throughout that time, I know you talked to us about a few different conversations. Well, in total, did you talk to him often about his case, or were those kind of some of the exceptions?
Maybe 7 or 8 times we talked about his case. It's not something that somebody wants to talk about every day.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Ms. Drake?
Good afternoon, sir. I just want to ask you a few questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what is J-Pod? What makes that different from all other pods?
Mental health.
Isn't it sometimes where people go when they're having issues with them?
Issue? What do you mean?
Why were you in J-Pod?
I'm fine. I was just there. I was an inmate worker, and since I have an active escape on me, there's only certain places that can work me. J-Pod, I can't work in the kitchen because I guess I got too many accesses to escape again, I guess.
And J-Pod is one of those where pretty much everybody stays in their cell and you can come out usually just one at a time, right?
Yes. PCs come out by themselves. Suicides come out one at a time, maybe 2 or 3 at a time sometimes.
Okay, so just one at a time if they're in PC, that's protective custody?
Yeah.
And these conversations happened with other people being around?
Yeah. Through the door. I was able to talk to people through the door. It would happen through a door on your rec yard.
Now, you mentioned a burglary. What county is that out of?
Gwinnett. For myself, burglary?
Yes.
I'm just down. The burglary's already done. I've been done the time for that. I'm just doing the probation.
Probation on burglary?
Yeah.
And you said it was normal for people that are potentially facing prison to ask about how prison is, right?
Yeah.
So there was nothing unusual about that. When did you speak to the DA's office?
Just a couple days ago. Oh, the first time?
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to show all of this. I'm going to let y'all go. All right. Tomorrow we're going to focus on the girl that was talking about him stalking, banging at the door. If I saw my son on a clip like that, it's clear as day. What were you doing? Why are you banging at someone's door like that? What's going on? I'm just saying. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. This was a long one. And tomorrow is going to be another long one, too. So if you can make it, you can. I would appreciate it. If not, you can watch the replay and all that good stuff. All right. And we'll go from there. And make sure everybody had themselves a great and a blessed evening. And stay tuned for some more of, wait a minute. Did I miss something? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Stay tuned for some more of Donna Just Being Real. And remember, date smart, not thirsty. And if you're a parent, you're an auntie, uncle, or whatever, talk to your children. Get involved. Talk to them about dating. Schools is not going to teach them this. This is not their job. They have to learn it by their parents. And we have to set an example too. All right. Adios. Have a blessed night.